back to new Rockstars. Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars are on the far distant horizon of the Marvel Cinematic Universe slate that we now have a clearer picture of than ever after San Diego ComicCon and D23. But there are so many empty spots for any other titles that we don't really have release dates for. But in this video, Jessica, Clemons, and I have joined forces in the same studio space for a special edition of the sneak peek that will now just not be special. This will be the normal thing.
Yeah, this will just be the normal thing where we're sharing a little screen. You somehow added 10 pounds to me. You need to move off screen.
I've added 10 pounds to myself because I've just been eating comfort food.
I'm sorry, all those Skittles, I'm sorry.
So many Skittles, all of the Skittles.
I was gonna make a joke about how you need to stop eating candy when you're sad, but then I just remembered you're allowed to be sad right now.
Oh, thank you. Hey, we're here together because I've relocated. It's been like the craziest 2 weeks of my life. But we're here now, and I think we just need to do a State of the MCU special episode just so we can just
also to catch up on ourselves, because we both didn't do D23, but we were watching online. We were watching us and everybody else online. But before we get into everybody else online, this is the sneak peek, the weekly show at New Rockstars where we look to the future of fandom. And I'm here today, Jessica Clemons, with Butthead McGee over here. booty butt cheeks over here.
Butthead McGee, booty butt cheeks.
Butthead McGee.
Live on the scene here at New Rockstars HQ. We're gonna break down everything we know about the upcoming slate of the Marvel Cinematic Universe because we have some answers finally, but we have even more questions. And there are some like soft announced titles, but that can't be it. There's gotta be some other big titles that they're saving for next year's Comic-Con or just like whenever Feige feels like it's time to announce it.
Well, they're still missing a little bit from Marvel Spotlight. So next year could be just an introduction of all Marvel Spotlight. We got Marvel Animation, we got Marvel Television, and the MCU are picking up speed, but no one's talking about Marvel Spotlight.
And he confirmed in one of these podcast interviews that they do have at least 2 Marvel Spotlights planned, but he wouldn't say which one. He knows for sure
it
is in production or development right now.
It can't be White Vision.
Oh, you mean Vision Quest? That's going to be a series. Jessica calls it White Vision. But that's what we'll all be calling it, because what other Vision is there?
Kevin Feige at one point called him White Vision too. Kevin Feige was like, oh, White Vision? And I was like, as opposed to what, Kevin Feige? But no.
Red Vision is just a pile of a mess of scraps. A box of scraps.
What if there's like a multiverse, and instead of Red Hulk, they get Red Vision. But it has to be something they're introducing, right? Isn't it kind of still origin-based Marvel Spotlight shows?
Yeah, it's supposed to Marvel Spotlights. Maybe I was thinking of special presentations. So we're gonna have 2 special presentations.
I still don't know what those would be.
Yeah, I don't know what they would be. All right, let's break down what we know for sure is happening. Next up on the slate, Agatha All Along, coming September 18th. The first 2 episodes are dropping on September 18th, and I believe we have 9 episodes total. And it's gonna take us through early November. We're gonna have a special Halloween week. It's gonna be like a Halloween celebration. Jessica just broke down the trailer that was released at D23, and the Ballad of the Witch's Road is the song that you did such a great job breaking down the lyrics of it.
Oh, I was going through the lyrics that weren't even featured in the trailer. I guess when you're at D23, the actual physical exhibit at D23 was playing the song. And so people were writing down the lyrics. So thank you guys for writing down the lyrics.
Yeah, and shout out to Scarlet Witch Updates on Twitter. You've been doing such an amazing job breaking down everything and every little morsel of an update we've gotten. But like they're including everything from the history of witches across all IP. You broke down the stuff from the Wizard of Oz, how Lilia Calderu is like dressed up as Galinda.
Oh, did you go crazy for that?
Versus Galinda. But Galinda would be in the Gregory Maguire Wicked musical.
God.
But Gregory Maguire wrote the book.
There was one person in that room that did say that, though. I know for sure one person in that Agatha room said exactly what you just said.
In the Victor Fleming movie, it was just Glinda, the Good Witch of the North. And they dropped the G. I think in Gregory Maguire's book, she like dropped the like it was a 1 or 2 syllable as opposed to 3 syllable.
These poor people on Sneak Peek are learning so much about Wicked that they never asked every time we bring anything back to Wicked.
You're grateful that you have it.
And you should be. Be happy you're getting this. That's a good musical. It's a good musical. It's a good story.
It's so good. But they're also bringing in stuff from The Craft. You know, Aubrey Plaza's like, it's all The Craft. I love The Craft. And then definitely some Witches of Macbeth, which, fun fact, I believe one of the earliest of examples of witches as depicted in modern contemporary folklore. Because witches obviously went back to, Greek plays and stuff like that, but witches as we know them, as like huddled around a big cauldron, stirring it,
the entertainment, the entertainment witch, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Witch,
it's what we know. That's what happens when you have long histories passed down through generations. We're gonna be like, ooh, Ooh, these are scary.
Yeah, Shakespeare's Macbeth's version of witches was so popular and such a blockbuster in London theater at the time that like that inspired so many witches that came after it. The fact that they speak in rhyme in this particular way, and Shakespeare added the witches to the beginning of Macbeth because he was telling the story of like a tragic king in Scotland, and he's like, it's not sexy enough to the groundlings in the pit. We need to give them something, some red meat at the top of this play. He's like, you know what? F it. I'm going to start with some witches speaking in rhyme. And then that's why people were like, whoa, and they were so freaked out by these witches. So anyway, I believe the Ballad of the Witches Road mentions toil and trouble, and there's like little homages to Shakespeare's witches, which I thought was really fun. You and I started together in New Rockstars really talking about WandaVision. It was such a magical time for us talking about
Are you
Mephisto.
a witch? Oh, wait. Are you Mephisto?
Yeah, obviously.
I had to mention Mephisto in our breakdown because of that giant. I didn't want to.
No, thank you for giving him a shout out because he'll find his way in if you don't.
I didn't want to, but there is a giant snake in the trailer that has M's all over it. And I was like, how am I not?
That's not him.
I know it's not him, but I was like, I know that you guys are going to get mad. Like, I know that someone in the comment is going to say, maybe it's Mephisto.
I think anytime we talk about Agatha, we got to make it clear we do not want Mephisto.
No, I do not want it in there. And I said it in the breakdown. I was like, I please don't. I was like, there's enough happening that I'm more excited for.
Not Mephisto. But in this instance, I thought you did a good job pointing out the M's and like, because the M's were in the design of Wanda's crown, right? Didn't she have this kind of
it's the jet.
And it wasn't just us making that up. Like the set designers were like, yeah, I put this M in there, this kind of specific M shape. And specifically, there was a shape of the soul stone that was designed into her collar. There were all these cool details that they put into the costumes of that show. But yeah, this trailer is going to have, or this show is going to be so interesting to us. And I can't wait to talk about it with you on New Rockstars. But doesn't it seem like the fandom isn't as excited for it? Like I've seen some comments saying like, we didn't ask for this show. We don't want this show.
I think just like every fandom, or every umbrella fandom, like Marvel has so many different versions of superhero movies that it's not just one niche superhero topic. I think there's a specific reason why the girls, gays, and theys are very excited for Agatha. Because they love Catherine Hahn, they love Aubrey Plaza, we love witches, we love Halloween time. I said we, as I'm representing all of them now. But I think it's very important to some people, and some people have been making it very adamant and important. But I do know that like, even if that's a third of what the Marvel fan base is, there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to be happy about it. Just like the same people that also weren't happy about the Marvels.
Yeah.
Not saying it's the same thing, but I'm just saying it's like, it does have a fan base. It clearly does. It's like the same people that would root for like, this is a very weird niche group that I'm about to bring up, but like where Superman's from, and like when he came to Earth, people probably from Kansas or wherever are like, oh, we're from Superman Town. Does this make sense?
I think I understand what you're saying. But I think the reason why Disney was so excited to push this through is Disney has always loved witches from the Hocus Pocus years back to their first feature-length animated film, Snow White, being centered around this villain of the witch, you know? And I think that's why Snow White was such a big part of D23 is like Disney as a studio has always been so witch-centered.
Well, they've been coming out with that movie forever, and I haven't shown any bits or pieces on it.
I'm not that excited for it. It looks kind of goofy.
No one's that excited for Snow White. It does look goofy. And not because of aren't people mad about the CGI on it? Which does not blend very well with that actress. But
I've seen a lot of people mad at Snow White for making all the dwarves work for her. She's like, together we will clean this place. And she's like, you do it.
Yes. And they were doing that a lot. It wasn't just her. Cinderella was doing it immediately. When they got changed into the horses, she was like, yeah.
Your turn. Give me up.
She said, I got a new dress. You're gonna drive.
This has always been the case. But I think like, man, when that needle drop hit in Agatha, or WandaVision episode 7, Agatha All Along, like that was one of the most enjoyable moments ever as a Marvel fan. So I've been ready for this show. And the fact that they're shooting so much of it like practically on a set that kind of looks like a storybook set, and they got this awesome lineup of Aubrey Plaza, Patti LuPone, Sasha Zameda, and of course, Catherine Hahn, like Joe Locke. It just looks like such a great cast, and they're all there for it. And I'm really excited for this show. Even if it doesn't have major consequences on the MCU, I think it's going to be a really fun ride for 8 weeks.
Yeah. It does look like every episode's going to be just them on the Witch's Road. going through another trial, which I love more than anything. I think if it does make a big wave to the MCU, it would be that she's probably our new Wanda. Not like our new exact Wanda. Wanda's not dead. But I do think for the time being, it would be nice to see more Agatha in that role.
Yeah.
Of like our witch queen.
The next title on the slate is Captain America Brave New World, coming February 14th, 2025. And we saw some footage at San Diego Comic-Con, and they also showed a slightly longer version of that at D23, including more of Red Hulk's transformation. And that ended up leaking online. So we got to see Harrison Ford's pepperoni nipples, and people are very excited about that Red Hulk. I mean, I'm so excited for this movie. We've had some internal debates here at New Rockstars. People are like, this movie looks goofy. The CGI of the cherry blossoms in Washington, D.C. looks goofy. I'm like, I just love the color palette of this movie. It's red, white, and blue, and a little pink in there. And I'm just like so pumped for this movie. I think it's going to be awesome. Yeah. What do you think?
I'm excited for it. I think the first trailer that dropped didn't get me that excited. I was like, oh, this sounds really good. I remember Evan showing me the trailer on his laptop and thinking he was playing his music in the background.
What's Evan's music?
Yeah, well, I thought it was like this dubstep. It's the same thing that's playing on the Brave New World music.
Yeah, okay.
The one that's black, it's going from black and white. And I was like, will you turn your music down? That's how much I was like not in the trailer when he was showing it to me. I was like, oh, this is the music for the trailer. Oh, never mind, my bad. But then the second trailer that we saw, I was like, oh, this is really good. And then this one, I was like, oh my God. I'm just so excited for Red Hulk, especially seeing them at San Diego Comic-Con, and they all are so buddy-buddy. It made me want to see this more. Yeah. It made me want to see it more. So I'm very excited for it. Harrison Ford, go off. Have fun. Please don't make it be your last time. I don't want Red Hulk to die.
Yeah, I think what people are worried about is not so much the CGI. It's like, what is the core story of this? Is it like they added this whole thing with Giancarlo Esposito playing Sidewinder, right? And that was added late. So the number of reshoots that happened in this movie, how good could the story be? And it does seem to be very like heavy-handed Marvel Studios produced by having like this color palette that seems like a movie shot for trailers, to have Red Hulk show up in the trailer. What is the story going to be underneath it? This is the movie that's going to bring back the question of Tiamat in the Indian Ocean, just to bring an adamantium into the, it seems like building blocks being put in place as opposed to a movie. To these critics, not to me. To them, I say, isn't that what Marvel Studios has always been? And we are hook, line, and sinker addicted to this shit. And I will line up to see these movies no matter what. Yeah. No matter what. So I think that is, I'm still excited for it just because I really love Anthony Mackie's take on Captain America. So really the thing about Brave New World is it's like, whatever this movie ends up being, it is something that, Kevin Feige, when asked, says that the 2025 release he's most excited for is Fantastic Four First Steps. So Brave New World and Thunderbolts just kind of seem like movies that they greenlit, and they're doing their best that they can with them. And specifically with Brave New World, it seems like the studio just took that movie by the reins and made it into an MCU splash page in the way that, a lot of movies have been. My hope is that it is, what's a good example of this where this worked? Infinity War is an example where it worked. Infinity War and largely Endgame, where Infinity War, they just took the biggest splash pages that they could of Thanos' snap. I don't know if chucking the moon was from the comics, but when he just hurls the moon at them, the previs just took this movie over, and it ended up making one of the greatest cinematic experiences ever. I hope that that's what Brave New World is. It seems like, though, they did not do this with Thunderbolts. They're just letting it be the story that it was pitched to be.
Well, it's hard with with Brave New World, because they did do so many reshoots. But also, I personally think, and take this with a grain of salt, please do not think, I don't know. I think those reshoots are going to put it more on track than it was originally, too. Because I don't think it was reshot that Isaiah Bradley's going to awaken from his weird coma and then become a sleeper agent and try killing Harrison Ford. I think that was already in the script.
I think that was always part of it.
Yeah, that was always part of it. But my big question was, I don't think they're going to ever address that. Isaiah Bradley played a completely different character in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And his entire story was look at all of the things that bad happened to me. And then all of a sudden, the next time we see him, he's going to zoom, 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 turn into a robot, jump out a window. I'm like, no.
We get to see him throw shit across the room.
That's fine. But I think that's all we're going to see of him. I do not think we're going to get...
He's going to disappear in
Yes, he's going to disappear into the night. Did you not think that? I thought he was gonna disappear into. First off, okay, I get it that he has the super soldier serum. He's still an old man, so he's gonna disappear into the night. I thought he was just gonna run away, because why wouldn't you? Isn't that what some Bucky would do immediately after harming people? He's like, I'm gonna dip out now as a sleeper agent. That's what I assume, and I don't think they're gonna get into it more than that. And that's why I'm like, ooh, I think these reshoots maybe will help. Little tad bits like that I think aren't going to go deeper into it. Because why would you want to go deeper into Isaiah Bradley in the movie? You know what I'm saying?
I want to go deeper.
No, okay, settle down.
I didn't say that.
I said, settle down, pervert.
I meant psychologically.
No, but in a series you can do that, but not in a movie.
You're right. In a 2-hour movie, there's only so much time.
And now they have Sidewinder, they have the leader, they have Red Hulk, they have Junior Falcon.
They got Shira Haas, who's not who you think, which is
who is now a Black Widow.
Yeah.
Who is now a Black Widow agent. And personally, I think they're going to start doing that more often with, like, if they're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that. They can just turn someone into a Black Widow.
Yeah, that's the easiest.
And that's what I think they're just going to do. I think that's what they're going to do sometimes. And I'm going to be very upset if it's if they do it all the time.
Do you think we see old Steve Rogers in this movie? Yes or no?
I mean, in a flashback.
No, I mean, like, do we find out where he went?
No, he's on the moon.
He is on the moon. Okay.
He's on the moon digging.
There's no shot of him, like, on the surface of the moon with binoculars looking at Earth.
Also, he should have appeared in Falcon and the Winter Soldier if he was still alive. I'm like, Sam Wilson was having arguably a harder time in Falcon and the Winter Soldier than he probably will be having in Brave New World. At least people are behind him now. Okay. So I'm like, Steve Rogers, if now you could have shown up, you should have shown up 2 years ago when your boys were having a hard time. Both your boys. Whatever.
Well, before we get to Thunderbolts, March 2025 will be Daredevil Born Again, and it looks like it's going to be 9 episodes. Originally, this is going to be 18 episodes, but part of the reconfiguration of the show is they split it into 2 different seasons. And you did a great job breaking down this trailer, showing us what this is going to be as kind of like a 4th season of the Netflix Daredevil series. It's going to be extremely bloody and violent, and Frank Castle is coming back. We see this interesting scene in the trailer that you broke down of Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock in a coffee shop, and season 2 is already greenlit. It's going to be shooting soon. So this is going to be throughout March and April of 2025, in between Captain America: Brave New World and Thunderbolts. I assume the finale will be out before Thunderbolts. Do we think the finale of this 9-episode season of Daredevil Born Again will tie into Thunderbolts coming out on May 2nd? I don't.
40% chance. I'm saying 40% because the Thunderbolts in the trailer look like they're going everywhere. In New York, it wouldn't be surprising if that's their last trip, or like their post-credit scene is also them in New York and they're meeting Daredevil or something. That's the only reason I could see that situation working out, because they're in so many different places in Thunderbolts. They're in the desert. They're everywhere. But for Daredevil, I think because we saw Kamala Khan's dad, I think it's going to be more that he's going to be meeting up with Kamala Khan eventually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Yusuf is in the trailer.
Interesting.
No Kamala, just her dad.
So do we think, Echo ended with Wilson Fisk calling, like, the different heads of different organizations. And, Sharon Carter was the power broker, Falcon Winter Soldier. It seems like in the Thunderbolts trailer, Val is in Avengers Tower. Yeah. So do we think that there could be a tie-in between Val and Kingpin at the end of Daredevil Born Again that could set up what happens in Thunderbolts?
Yes. I agree with that.
So you think we'll see D'Onofrio and Julia Louis-Dreyfus on screen 100%, together in a scene?
100%.
As a post-credit scene to Daredevil Born Again, maybe?
She's still the director of the CIA, right?
That's right.
So you're still the director of the CIA. You got Red Hulk going crazy as president. And she's like, okay, I need to make sure, you need to own your pieces. And if she has New York, that's good. That's a good step. And using Mayor Fisk is probably a great stepping stone. That man owns everybody. He owns every territory in New York. Well, he did. Maybe he doesn't anymore. But I'm like, that is a great person to get on your team. So she's probably like, hey, I'll give you... She might have been the one that gave him the eye scene pair from Echo.
She equipped him with that
because
technology.
If she's in Avengers Tower, she probably got it and gave it to him and was like, now I need you to do me a favor.
See, I think it was the other way around. I think he equipped the CIA with that technology. He might have like assumed some of like the role that Tony Stark was playing for the government and supplying them with certain surveillance technology. And then since Stark Industries, they got all the drone technology, but they don't have like any kind of innovators working for them anymore. Unless Bruno from Kamala Khan is
he's like, I'm no longer going to college.
He's working for the government, that piece of shit.
He wouldn't be the first boy
Bruno's
on their way to college and then go work for the government.
Today's video is sponsored by Blue Chew.
It's summer, it's hot. You're forgiven if you're just feeling drained by the constant heat. When your heat exhaustion turns into meat exhaustion, it's time for Blue Chew. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. It's super easy too. Just sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. It's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. You can take Blue Chew anytime, day or night. That way you can plan ahead or be ready for whenever an opportunity arises. If you're skeptical or don't think you need it, try it free for a month and see. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code New Rockstars at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code New Rockstars to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information, and we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this video.
So a question that I was thinking about is like, you know, could Wilson Fisk run for president if there's this power vacuum from President Ross having an issue? Could he run for president and be what like Norman Osborn was as like a presidential figure and during the Dark Reign era? And that's how we get like a Thunderbolts scenario of like we have Wilson Fisk as a surprise cameo in Thunderbolts.
I would love that. I would love even him absolving not the storyline exactly, but being what the Green Goblin was. That would be, wait, you said Green Goblin.
Oh yeah, Norman Osborn.
Norman Osborn.
Yeah, so what I was thinking is like the asterisk could be Avenger, it could be a replacement title for Avengers Dark Reign or Dark Avengers or something like that. Like they changed the title and they reveal that later this year.
I'm still hard. That's not the right wording. I'm still firm. I'm cemented, firm, on the ground, planted, that means the asterisk is the Thunderbolts as a team. And they're just the second tier. They're the second tier. They keep getting new Thunderbolts. And this is the new one.
So why do you need an asterisk for that?
It's just like, oh, we need the Avengers. Nope, you're going to take the Thunderbolts. Like, it's like an accident. I'm stuck on it. That they're the second tier. They're the corrected.
The title's going to change.
But the asterisk can also be just like, this was a mistake. I'm correcting it.
Why can't you just say that in the dialogue of the movie? That's what, like, Thunderbolts
They will. It's a funny line. It's a funny line.
An asterisk, there's nothing humorous about an asterisk. It's a punctuation.
But if they say it in the movie, if they're like, don't you guys want the Avengers for that? And then they're like, why need the Avengers when you got the Thunderbolts? They're like the second tier.
I think a piece of a punctuation of an asterisk is a stupid way to. I'm not calling you. I think Marvel Studios is stupid.
Yeah,
for
I like
an
how
asterisk
I think you think so highly of Marvel that they wouldn't do something like this.
I'm thinking less and less of Marvel every day that they don't reveal what that asterisk
their titles are ridiculous. But also, not only are their titles ridiculous, they name the show after the character before they even give the character a moniker. Like that's what they do.
I looked at my phone because I heard it buzzing. I was like, maybe it's Kevin Feige calling to yell at me, and he's going to tell me what it is. No.
Yeah, maybe he will.
So let's briefly talk about Thunderbolts. You also broke down that trailer. I feel like I'm just saying Jessica broke this down already, and she did.
You did the 3 recent ones. I think after this I didn't do anything.
Okay, yes. So you did. You broke down just based off of your memory and your notes coming out of ComicCon, but now we have like it's been released. It's on. You can find it on social media, the footage, and you can clearly see this really does look like Avengers Tower. Yeah. You see Bob Reynolds as Sentry, who's completely bulletproof. So this does look like it's Marvel Suicide Squad, but it doesn't look like it has a lot of the MCU splash page stuff. There's not a lot of like big previs imagery. It seems like a smaller, more confined story, and it doesn't look like it's on a big scale. I'm fascinated that this is the May release and not the like Captain America Brave New World looks like a big summer Marvel movie. This kind of seems like a smaller, more action stunt-based movie, but so far based off of the footage, other than like the action, the gunfire, the fight choreography, it doesn't look like a big Marvel movie.
It does look like which is funny, it looks like a spring movie. It doesn't look like a summer, but it does look like a spring movie, which I guess May is technically kind of summer or spring. It does feel like it's more which maybe that's what they wanted, and that's what they're going for, is like it's very driven in drama. It's very dramatic. The trailer was even dramatic. It was a lot of dialogue of just like, how am I going to be this person that I don't know who I am? It's more of that than it is like fighting and like confrontation. And I'm like, oh, so this is just going to be like we're going to sit down and watch like a deep conversation.
Do you think the asterisk is Galactus's butthole? I think it's puckering butthole as he's pointed his butt at the 616 MCU and he's pointing his face at the Fantastic Four's universe.
Is that where they are?
It's his butthole, and he's farting on Earth right now, and that's what the asterisk
I can't
means.
wait till we figure out what the asterisk means. And the asterisk.
I just told you, it's Galactus's butthole.
It's Galactus's butthole. It's gonna be nothing. It's gonna be. I genuinely am
You're
like.
saying Galactus
it's
doesn't
gonna
have
be,
a butthole?
You know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be like the shotgun. It's gonna be like, oh, it was actually supposed to be a bullet wound or something, and I'm gonna be like, I'm not doing this.
No. So let's talk about Fantastic Four First Steps coming July 25th, 2025. The only Marvel movie Kevin Feige cares about right now. He's like, screw these other two movies.
He only cares about this, and I'm sure only this, and then Nate Moore's like X-Men 97. Like they're two, like these are the only two things we care about right now.
Yeah.
And they're successful.
They showed some footage at San Diego Comic-Con that I did a breakdown of, and then they showed this to the D23 crowd as well. And we saw the cast sitting here, and we saw, Johnny Storm's outfit, and he's got a very specific outfit. They dyed his hair. He's already in costume. This looks like this is part of the same set that's in the Baxter Building, the kind of like family dinner environment. We see Pedro Pascal wearing this kind of checkered blazer that he was wearing when he was like, they were showing Outsiders, the Baxter Building. He says, we have dinner here every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on the dot, no exceptions. And one thing that I did not catch the first time we saw this at San Diego Comic-Con is in the shot of Galactus peering in through the windows of the Baxter Building, Herbie is there in the corner
Herbie.
doing some vacuuming or cleaning, some housekeeping. Herbie's there. That was our first look at Herbie.
Is that gonna be the joke? Is that Herbie's gonna be cleaning and be like, ah! Just like run away.
Shoot!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Get in here!
So let's talk about Fantastic Four briefly. This really seems like Kevin Feige's opportunity to show people what Marvel Studios can really do. Like to get back to that kind of phase 1, phase 2 attitude of like, hey, you may have seen versions of these characters before and it always felt incomplete. No, this is the dream project. And he got Michael Giacchino to do the music. Like we've already heard the music, and that music ties this footage together. I'm excited to see this just for the music alone. But like what Matt Shakman has cooked up with the visuals and just the idea of this movie as like a 1960s Tomorrowland vibe of retro futurism mixed in with like The Right Stuff and Apollo 13 as just a story of like astronauts as celebrities, like remembering how astronauts used to be celebrity figures and what that meant to society. Yeah.
That was sad because I forgot that we do not treat them like celebrities anymore.
Can you name a single astronaut now?
No, not now.
Astronaut, Kelly. Mark Kelly from Arizona is now a senator. But he's not. He wasn't a celebrity before that.
That's crazy.
To some people, he was.
That's actually a great premise, or like just a draw to pull from, in a very specific time in history that I would love to see again. And doing it with the Fantastic Four is actually a really brilliant idea.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the seeds of Avengers Doomsday planted into this. Do you think Robert Downey Jr.'s version of Dr. Doom will appear in this film?
I want him to so bad. I want him to so bad. I do. Yeah. I want him to. I don't know if it will happen, but I don't see why it wouldn't. I don't see why I wouldn't, and especially if you start the seeds here. We all want the Fantastic Four. We're all going to be sat for the Fantastic Four. Great way to usher, like, to start it. Start it all.
I think he shows up in a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
I think this movie cannot be about Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom. I think that story needs to be told in Avengers Doomsday, but I think they need to pose a question at the end of this movie as he is toiling away in a lab somewhere, or maybe he's on a space station watching Galactus devour this planet, and he goes, what could I have done differently? And he follows Reed into a rift into the multiverse 100%. Or something like that. But then we see his origin story in Doomsday.
Yeah. They're going to have to speed a lot of things up for Fantastic Four, which I think they're already prepared for because they're like, everyone knows us. And we all should. But it doesn't seem like we're going to get like too much of it. They're going to start immediately like, here's the middle of our job in the middle of our day. And this is like the 800th day of us doing this. Like, here's our building. Right. Which is, I'm like, they're going to do it. They're going to make a way to fit that all in. And then the post-credit scene will be Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, what I think the movie structurally will be, because Matt Shakman has sworn this is not an origin story, which is just so interesting to see the space flight in this previs concept trailer, because that is their origin story.
Is that really?
That's, I mean, it kind of is. Like, I guess we're not going to see them as youths. We're not going to, but I think we will see it in flashbacks. Really, is what it's going to be. We're going to. The main parts of the story are going to be some other kind of event that they're dealing with, but we'll like flashback to Yancey Street. We'll flash back to Reed and Sue and Johnny as when they were younger, when they were astronauts. But I think those flashbacks will not just be like lost style. It'll be like archive footage that we splice back to from the Future Foundation. And I think we'll learn by the end of the movie that the Future Foundation is trying to document and archive the story of these heroes
100%.
because their universe has been destroyed.
Yeah,
and they're trying to preserve the story of that to tell other universes, hey, here's who they were and why they're so important, and we're trying to find them. And I think the Future Foundation is going to be Valeria and Franklin Richards trying to tell the story of their parents and trying to archive the story. So throughout the movie, we'll see like, this space flight footage from the Baxter Foundation Excelsior launch pad in the East River, and
that's how they should just open the movie, is do those cold open credits that we used to do back in the day, and along those credits are the video footage of them like growing up to this.
It's like what the narration was revealed to be at the end of $1 Million Baby. We just thought this was just Morgan Freeman talking at us the way he did March of the Penguins and Shawshank Redemption, and the final line of $1 Million Baby is just, it's spoiler warning, the movie's been out 20 years,
30.
is he's saying, I just thought you would like to know what kind of man your dad was. And you realize that the entire movie was just him writing a story to Clint Eastwood's long-lost daughter, who, after he made this horrible decision, not a horrible decision, the difficult decision to pull the plug.
I reacted like I have not seen this movie in my life. When you said it, I went, oh. And then I went, wait, Jessica, you've seen this movie? But fantastic. We
all saw and immediately forgot that movie.
I did. And also, I think I pushed it out to the back of my head because I was very young when I watched it and I was distraught.
Because our Clint Eastwood film, understand
Look
this,
here.
Trouble with the Curve in Gran Torino.
All I watch is Gran Torino. And I refuse to watch anything else. But what I was going to say, I was going to add about Fantastic Four. I do love how they're pulling these characters, and I love how they got Joseph Quinn acting like a shy little brother that's like weird.
He doesn't seem like an asshole.
No, they typecasted him a little too well, because I was like, outside of him being Eddie, he does play a very like quiet, shy, just beautiful little man there. Yeah. And I'm like, that's what he is in this. She's always like, look at my brother. And he's like, I'm in a suit and it's too tiny.
I love all the cast and what they're doing with these characters. I think that's going to be the selling point of this movie, is how like well cast all these people were.
I think out of all the things that we're going to talk about today, the Fantastic Four is the one that's making the biggest push in the MCU. That's going to be like, it's this might, I think this is what we think Brave New World will be. This will be the one that's like the fork in the road for all of the other Doomsday, everything else.
Originally, Fantastic Four was going to be the start of, not the start of the multiverse saga, but like the start of Phase 6. Remember back in ComicCon 2022, like Kevin Feige has always held up this title as the movie where he's going to really start cooking. It's not just like finishing out things that have contractually he's obligated to do. This is a movie they didn't have to do and wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, no way but up, I think, with Fantastic Four. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way and same with, I think when we were doing X-Men 97, I was like, no way but up with X-Men 97. I was like, you're going to do fine. And they cooked. They cooked on X-Men 97.
So sometime in 2025, we don't have a month yet, is going to be Ironheart. And they showed some footage. It looked like the footage that they showed at D23 in 2022.
Oh, I thought it was CinemaCon. No, you're right.
Because I saw it early, and it was like Ryan Coogler came out.
Oh, yeah, you saw it.
And it looked really, it seems like a similar trailer, but with like different music and some different shots. But it looks like this show has been wrapped for a while now, but we see Riri being kicked out of MIT from Jim Rash's character from Civil War. We see more of Anthony Ramos as Parker Robbins, the Hood, trying to make money through illegal means to build a new suit. This could be the title where Mephisto finally appears.
Isn't it supposed to be?
Sacha Baron Cohen is supposed to be in the show as Mephisto. Now, normally the Hood communes with Dormammu to get his, because he brings some dark magic into this, but rumor has it that he's going to be making a deal with Mephisto. This makes no sense to me. I just want to make this very clear. I think Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto makes a certain bit of sense, but in this show, it doesn't. So weird.
And it would only be like a 30-second cameo of him giving the Hood, giving him the outfit. That's it. And that's why I'm like, give it to anyone else. Any small. I would rather you give it to Madison from She-Hulk. She somehow comes through a portal and gives them to him.
She talked to the goat.
Yeah, she's talked to the goat. I would rather it be her. I don't need it to be Mephisto. And watch Mephisto become one of the Black Widows. They're gonna be. He was also a Black Widow. I think they're gonna switch it up. Because there's a chance. When was the first time you saw the trailer? How long ago?
It was like 2 years ago.
That's 2 years ago. So I'm like, they could easily like switch it up all of a sudden and not make it Mephisto.
I don't know. I think they're just like, we'll just put this out. And
No,
they're
take
just
him
kind of
out.
obligated to. I think
Mephisto's not
Dominique
in
Thorne's
Chicago.
take on Riri Williams is great, but do you how much do you think about her from Black Panther Wakanda Forever over the past 2 years?
You're asking a black girl this all the time.
You really think about her all the time?
I've been waiting for Ironheart. I've been waiting for. As soon as she got kicked out of MIT in the trailer that showed up on Twitter, I was like, oh my god, because it's picking up like right after Wakanda Forever. So I immediately was like, oh, let me go back to her dorm room and go look around at all the things she's gonna lose, and also the shop she's gonna lose that she makes her suit in. I immediately was like, oh, I'm intrigued. I also read her comics, so I was like, oh, never mind, I'm not gonna say what happens in the comics because it might be a spoiler. But,
sure. I think her suit is very exciting. I think the suit she got in Wakanda Forever was just too advanced and too like Power Rangers-y.
She's too smart. Well, it's also a Mach 2 suit. It was a
I
Mach
want to
2.
see the suit she builds is more interesting.
Yeah, and this will be it.
And that's what I want. Why would she give up the Wakanda suit? I need to know what happens.
They took it away, didn't they? Weren't they like, you can't have it because we made it with us? Oh, sorry.
I'm more interested in her and her engineering and what she can bring to it. And I can't wait to see what suit she actually builds on this show. Like, we've seen some examples of it in this trailer footage that's come out online. But I just don't trust Marvel Studios to get this story right.
No. I don't think they do a lot of POCs right. They denied Sam Wilson a bank loan. And I'm not over that. And no one will remember that but me for some reason. I think it's just because it was so funny when it happened. I was like, oh yeah, they don't get money. No one cares about you. You're Falcon. Sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I was like, I don't think they're going to get it that right. It was in the time when they were making it, when they were kind of just throwing things together. They were like, we just need to finish this. Let's push it out. Yeah. And then they held it for so long. Like, it was shot before the strikes. Like, it was done. Yeah. And they held it for so long. So I'm like, I don't know. I think they want to push it out, but I'm glad they're doing the effort, doing like the promo stuff and letting her on stage and letting her, like, showing her off again. Because it seemed like with Echo, they were just like, let's throw it out. Yeah. Throw it out. January 10th, middle of the week. All at once. Yeah. And I'm like, ooh, I didn't even get any like promo stuff. I didn't see anything online about it. But this, they're giving a chance. They're giving a chance. I think also Anthony Ramos and Twisters has rekindled people's heart for him after the cheating scandal.
We need to do a special episode on this. I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, you haven't.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You would love it. Go down the TikTok rabbit hole.
I've been distracted this summer. I haven't had a chance to look into this.
You were. But it involves him and footage of him at a strip club with a girl, with another girl.
No.
Like, not in the...
And this is why he was kicked out of the Try Guys? What? I obviously don't know what's going on with this. They're friends of the channel. I know these guys.
Yeah, I was like, I've hired them before. We're friends. Yeah. But no, I think it is. I think I hope it's good. The way that they're talking about it at least sounds promising.
Blade. We got no updates on Blade at either ComicCon or D23, which is just like...
Just tell me you're not doing it.
Just
tell me you're not doing it.
I guess that's not what these big media announcements are about. You don't want to give negative news, but what is happening with this?
Just tell me you're cutting it. Just tell me. I think they're so afraid of how, or not afraid, but they saw what happened with David Zaslav and Warner Brothers, and they were like, ooh, maybe we shouldn't, like, we need to put these out no matter what. And I'm like, but you guys are stringing not only us along, these poor actors on the show. You got Mahershala doing your guys' like PR.
Right.
That your lead actor should not have to be the one to come to us and tell us to hold out, to like tell us to be there.
Now, will they betray fans if they, instead of canceling Blade, just repackage it as a Midnight Suns movie?
I would love if they make Blade the point on it.
The leader of the Midnight Suns.
The lead, he's getting the gang together. Like, I personally wouldn't be upset. And I would hope that I still want a Blade movie. But it is also, it's been so long that even Deadpool and Wolverine are making fun of the fact that there's no Blade movie.
I know that look that he did. He just raised his eyes. What if they announce a title called Blade: Midnight?
Stop
Blade Midnight. And then now it tells all of it. It's still a Blade movie.
Blade -Midnight.
But like then you don't get it confused with the 1998 Blade because we just saw Wesley Snipes in Deadpool and Wolverine. It can just be Blade Midnight and then it's Blade and then he is leading this team or putting a team together with Moon Knight, with
since Val's already doing that, they're already doing it. If they could find a way to make it less like Thunderbolts-y, how they're getting the team together, I would love a Midnight. I'd rather have a Midnight Suns, to be honest.
Well, then you wouldn't have to call it Midnight Suns, SONS, or SUNS, which the game did, and you could just have it Blade Midnight, and then the team is just called Midnight whatever, and it can have anybody. It can have people from Agatha in it.
Maybe that was their plan after Blade. They were like, after Blade, we're gonna bring the Hood, and we're gonna bring out.
We don't want to. They couldn't agree on what the origin story would be, and then
you mentioned the fact that it's supposed to come out around the same time as Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan.
They got a sense of what Ryan Coogler's script was, and they're like, "Fuck, that's exactly what we were gonna do for Blade," and like we can't have Marvel's like one of our best directors doing another movie that is like the same kind of story, a vampire story with Michael B. Jordan
and Ryan Coogler directing. That's insane.
And then there's another actor in it who's going to be in both movies, right? Delroy Lindo was going to be in both. So I think they're like, we can't do this anymore. And I think just make it Blade Midnight and make it like a Midnight Suns movie and have Mephisto be the villain.
Or at least they're holding and using the time to their advantage. They're like, oh, well, we got time since we don't want it to come out anywhere near Ryan Coogler's vampire movie. Oh God!
Because we've heard Mahershala's voice in the MCU in the Eternals post-credits scene. He says, "Are you sure you're ready for that, Mr. Whitman?" He's already there putting a team together. So make that the story.
That's true. Just make. I think it was supposed to come out after Blade. They were like, oh, they should have just never did that. They should have never released the fact that they were coming out with a Blade movie. They should have They should have just jumped to that. Yeah. Again, this was during the time they were kind of just throwing things together in a little box. They were like, everyone needs an origin. Not everybody needs an origin. Clearly, we know who Blade is just as much as we know who the Fantastic Four is. You just need to start them. Just start them. Let them go. Yep. And Blade Origin or Midnight Blade would have been good.
And you can get Kit Harington for like $100,000. So you don't have to pay him much.
Wait, what? He's not worth a lot of money anymore?
He's TV. He's not movies.
But he's Game of Thrones.
At this point, this guy's been paid probably $2.5 million, I would imagine, just for still staying involved. You can get like a smaller talent to be the other guys.
I will say Catherine Hahn, I think, is more than Jon Snow as well.
Catherine Hahn is like a title character in a show.
So he'll probably be.
I don't know. Kit Harington at the end of Game of Thrones, season 8, he was making quite a bit of money.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm stuck on. I was like, he made a lot of money. And then you can just throw Anthony Ramos in there as the Hood.
Okay, so we have Avengers Doomsday coming May 1st, 2026, and we have Avengers Secret Wars coming in May 2027. So those are the tentpole title releases that we know are coming. Avengers Doomsday is going to be Robert Downey Jr. Probably he's going to be the star of it. It's going to be an origin story for this version of Doctor Doom. Avengers Secret Wars is probably going to be like the end result of time runs out. But what are the other titles you think we'll get along the way? So Vision Quest, your White Vision story, coming at some point in 2026, I would imagine, probably. And then beyond that, we know there's going to be a Wonder Man TV series.
Oh, yes.
There's going to be, we haven't heard anything about Armor Wars in a while.
I have.
You think they canceled it?
I think I've completely forgot. To the point where I'm like, even when it is brought up to me, I'm like, nah, name the other ones are more, I think, realistic than Armor Wars at this point.
We think there's a Shang-Chi 2 because that's what Destin Daniel Cretton went to after leaving Avengers 5.
And they're very adamant, Destin Daniel Cretton, about it, about there being a second Shang-Chi. Yeah. I trust that he's like, no, we're going to make it happen. And I'm like,
I think it's still happening too. And what I hope that is like, I want it to be a true fighting tournament movie. Like Enter the Dragon.
I was like Mortal Kombat?
Like Mortal Kombat, but like a Marvel version of Mortal Kombat. And that's what we thought the first Shang-Chi was going to be, but they needed to introduce a character of Shang-Chi throughout, his life and his father. It was a father-son story, and it was better off for that. But now that we know all the characters and we have all these different warriors, all kinds of Black Widow agents out there, let's get them all in a fighting tournament.
I would be okay. A full 2 hours of that?
Yeah, I'd watch it.
Wouldn't that be Thor Ragnarok?
No, Thor Ragnarok was its own thing.
You're like, we're not talking about Thor Ragnarok. Get it out of here.
It should be leading up to Secret Wars. We have
some
characters pitting characters against each other to pick their team for Secret Wars. It should come out between Doomsday and Secret Wars. That should be a good late 2026, early 2027 release.
I'll agree with that, because then it'll be like all of a sudden like 3 of them or something magically appear on Battle World, and it's like, oh, at least these 3 have worked together before, so they know how to interact and do everything. That would be fun.
Somewhere in the midst of this will be Spider-Man 4. Now, Sony controls when that comes out, but it's going to be an MCU Spider-Man story. And wasn't there some news this week that if Sony does a version of a villain, Marvel can't do it?
I just saw that. I read that, and I was about to ask you that. And I was like, I mean, there's still a lot of villains out there, especially, like, you can just make a really fun one and choose a really fun one. But that does mean, like, we don't really get a Lizard. And I love
A Lizard,
I love
a
Lizard the
Craven, a Venom, a Carnage.
any of the ones from the game, basically, because the game showed a lot of them.
What I think is you could just do a good Spider-Man Kingpin story with Miles Morales.
Yeah.
I think that works
That's fine.
great.
And that also makes them more established, or helps the Daredevil people into MCU be more established, is have him interfering with Kingpin, which, they should.
I think there's a great story there that can be told. It doesn't need Venom in it. Just needs Miles. We need Miles.
Daredevil updates on Twitter actually mentioned that there was some stuff shown at D23 for Daredevil that wasn't in the Daredevil trailer. And one of the things were like the art, the concept art, and one of the arts was him swinging in New York City. And now I'm obsessed with the fact that I'm like, oh, we should just have him hanging out with Spider-Man at some point.
Yeah.
They need to intertwine.
Yeah, so I think it should be a merging of Daredevil Born Again and in the world as it was at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home.
And it would work so well because he's so sad.
It'd be perfect, yeah.
Oh my God, that would work so well.
I think that was part of the DNA of Spider-Man No Way Home's final act. The fact that he swung past Rockefeller Center in the snow, and this was coming out as Hawkeye was coming out and introduced Fisk. Like within 4 days, we got a reintroduction of Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, and a reintroduction of D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk, and that was right around Spider-Man season. And I think that would be like a perfect Spider-Man 4 story.
I would love that. Oh, and it would just
team up with Cox and Holland.
The upgrade would be like him. He's an adult now, so it's like, oh, here's his real adult problems. I mean, his problems before were also adult problems, but this one is like grounded. And in Daredevil, people die, and we see them die horribly.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, oh, here's the crossing of our Peter Parker actually becoming an adult and dealing with like being a human and an adult with emotions. Oh.
Yeah, if you're asking me, like, what is $1 billion Spider-Man movie? And these need to be $1 billion movies because they're joint productions between Sony and Marvel.
Yeah,
and
they
all
need to make
stakeholders
money.
need to get enough money for it to be worth it. The way you do that is not a Spider-Man Venom story. Mm-hmm. It is a Spider-Man Daredevil Kingpin Miles Morales story.
But Marvel has Spider-Man. They have Kingpin and Daredevil, so they can't do it at Sony. And Sony's not going to let that go.
So, yeah,
Sony's
but this is the only chance you have to do it is when they're together. Because otherwise you got to wait till Secret Wars, I assume. Tom Holland Spider-Man's going to appear in Secret Wars.
Oh, no, I agree. But I'm like, no, you make $1 billion off that, of the Daredevil and the Fisk. Bringing Hell's Kitchen into it is such a fun idea. Oh.
So these are the titles we know for sure are coming out, but obviously there are some open spots in there. Like 2026, we don't know anything about 2026 and 2027 other than Doomsday and Secret Wars. So what are the other titles that are going to populate? What's likelier, that we get a 5th Thor or a 3rd Doctor Strange?
It better be a 3rd Doctor Strange.
Yeah. It
better be. You guys already know my anger when I found out that there was going to be a Thor 5 over a Doctor Strange 3. I think Doctor Strange 3. I also think low key they're kind of scared about touching Thor again for a minute.
Yeah, take a break from Thor.
Yeah, I think they're like, ugh.
Take a break from Thor and bring back Hercules in Shang-Chi 2 as one of the warriors.
Hell yeah.
So make that a team up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying with Shang-Chi. I'm like, just bring in like, they're not second. It's not that Hercules is second tier. It's just, we just don't know him. He's not established in the MCU yet. So I'm like, yeah, bring that one in. Bring those characters that we saw briefly. Like, bring other people. Like, there were other people like at Carmitage. I mean, this is a very weird niche pool. That Bull and Carmitage, bring him in. I want to see him fight.
Yeah.
But like, there's so many things they can do with that, and they should. But I don't know if they're going to.
I think what they should do is early 2026. That February slot, Valentine's Day 2026, Blade Midnight. Say Blade Midnight, and then have a post-credit scene with Doctor Strange to set up Doctor Strange Time Runs Out November 2026 on the other side of Doomsday. And then Doctor Strange Time Runs Out, the 3rd Doctor Strange movie, could bridge the gap between Doomsday and Secret Wars coming in 2027. So that gives you a big Doctor Strange movie. The first Doctor Strange came out in November of 2016, so this would be 10 years later. To be November 2026. And then that sets up Avengers Secret Wars in May 2027. And then that leaves open February 2027 for Shang-Chi 2.
Yeah, I love that.
With Hercules.
I love the just making them connected in some way, one way or another, the Midnight Suns and Doctor Strange, or mainly Blade and Doctor Strange. I would love for Doctor Strange to be like a ringer for the Midnight Suns every once in a while in the MCU and just be like, hey, I'm here to help. And then use a lot of his ability and be like, okay, now I gotta go. Him and Clea, they have to show up. They have to appear.
We have to follow up on that, and that can't be in an Avengers movie. It needs to be a Doctor Strange movie.
I've been saying this. If you just make them appear in the Avengers movie all of a sudden, I'm going to be so mad if we don't hear what happened between Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, and this. I'm going to be so irritated. Or Spider-Man No Way Home in this.
So just to clarify our pitched slate for what we think it will be and what it should be. Starting the year 2025, we have February 2025, Captain America Brave New World. May 2025, Thunderbolts. July 2025, Fantastic Four First Steps. Don't have a movie release in November 2025. You leave that open for Ironheart and for TV stuff. Okay, so then we get to February of 2026. That's what we need to be Blade Midnight, or just some kind of Blade title with a post-credit scene that sets up a third Doctor Strange movie. So then you get in May 2026, Avengers Doomsday. November 2026, Doctor Strange 3, or Doctor Strange Time Runs Out. And then you get to February of 2027, Shang-Chi 2. And then May 2027, Avengers Secret Wars. On the other side of that, then we start the Mutant Saga.
I stand by this wholeheartedy. Probably more than Marvel's going to give us.
Yeah.
Marvel's going to give us something else, and I'm going to be
like, you want season 4 of White Vision?
No!
You're getting it.
I also forgot, sorry, I screamed so loudly at that, but I did forget, like, oh yeah, the holidays are really open for the series. Because you're going to be home and you're going to be sitting down with your family, and they want you to be watching all of What If daily until Christmas, or for New Year's they want you to watch Echo for some reason. But I do forget, like, oh yeah, the series it's always going to be like October, November, December is going to be series.
Yeah. So what do you think the special presentations will be? He said we got 2 special presentations in the works. What are those going to be? We're talking about one.
What do we have already? We
had Werewolf by Night, and then we had the Guardians holiday special.
Oh, the holiday special. That's what it was.
Do you think we might see another holiday special? Like we could see...
I could see that's what they're leaving, special
Armor
presentations.
Wars could become a special presentation.
It could be. So they have the holiday, and then they have the Halloween. I guess, yeah, there's nothing really for them to do for November. Yeah. Just a dinner. They're inviting everybody over. It's a soul food episode. No, I don't know. It's more so who would we see, because Werewolf by Night was completely new characters, and then the holiday special was returners. And also it was James Gunn just like, oh yeah, I'll do this. It's fun. That's why he also did Baby Groot. Yeah. So I don't know.
I think they do holiday specials because it's all about budgets and contracts. Like they were able to get most of the Guardians cast back on a smaller budget, and 100%. And James Gunn's like, I can get this done for under $20 million. 100%. And they're like, okay, then you can do that as a special presentation.
But I don't know. And
Giacchino's like, give me $10 million and I can get this done.
Yeah, I don't know what made them want to do Werewolf by Night, but I loved Werewolf by Night.
I loved it, and I want to see. If you want to introduce like a Ghost Rider, I think a Ghost Rider special presentation, you get $15 million, $20 million, get a great horror director involved, or just a great action director involved, and then that can be a tie-in to this Blade Midnight project that the more I say it, the more I'm like, that has to be something.
Who's directing? It's not only Sean Levy on Stranger Things. Grab one of them. To come
one
do
of the
a
Duffers
special.
Or...
Yeah, I was like, give it that edge. Go back, give it that little edge, and it's still appropriate enough for Disney.
I want to see a Jordan Peele.
That's why I said I think it's appropriate
presentation.
For Disney. Also, the special presentations aren't that long. They're pretty quick. They're like 1 hour exactly. I was gonna say probably do another little offshoot for The Witch's Road. What else is there? What other horror thing is there?
Another spinoff with Aubrey Plaza's Rio Vidal.
Oh yeah, she just lives there in the dirt. Yeah. She's just been shoveling through the dirt.
Or you can do like a Young Avengers special presentation starring Joe Locke as Wiccan, teaming up with Kamala Khan and Kate Bishop and the other Young Avengers.
Or even Kate Bishop and Kamala Khan going to get the rest of the Young Avengers, and then we're like, oh, we're following her through this and we're figuring it out. But maybe that has to be longer than an hour.
I think a special presentation is just an opportunity to do these special one-off titles as like limited plot, limited budget, but if you really care about the characters, you can do something special with them.
It's gonna be Deadpool.
Oh, you think Deadpool?
I just remembered that. I was like, because that one you can just throw, and he already did a Christmas special. He did a Christmas little movie.
Do you think Ryan Reynolds' fee is $15 million alone?
That is true. Well, I think it's just quick. Okay, so if the $15 million fee also encapsulates him also writing it, and then he's probably going to be like directing it. I'm trying to think how they'll cut corners.
Sets, for crew.
Yeah. Unless he makes it stay at one place. I don't know. I'm more so thinking like, oh, anyone will go see that. They might be willing to drop that money. And he's already done a Christmas special, so he already knows like what.
I just don't think Ryan Reynolds is going to do anything just for Disney Plus. He's like, put me on a big screen. I'm a big screen actor.
Unless he wants to help his wife who's having a hard time right now. So, and maybe they'll put Blake Lively in it.
If maybe you do a Lady Deadpool, or you do an X-23,
there you
special
go.
presentation.
What if you
Now
did-
we're talking.
well, I doubt you can get Wolverine to do one by himself.
No, Hugh Jackman's not going to do that.
Hugh Jackman said,
but
I
like
barely
Daphne
came back
Keane
as-
would.
Yeah,
I think Daphne Keane
could.
would do a good special presentation
yeah, if we
as
go-
X-23.
What if we also check in on just like Jennifer Garner as Elektra? Or that's what.
Gambit? We get a Gambit special
If we
presentation?
get, and he's stuck there,
He's
like
stuck in the
everybody else
void?
gets to go back to where they were from, but since he was like born there, he just lives there.
It's just
and
him fishing in the void, like, I got me one of these novels.
what if it's just a Christmas? He's celebrating Christmas by himself in that weird cave that they had.
It's like, what is Gambit cooking? He's cooking some jambalaya
Yeah.
for all of us.
Oh my God. Yes. Give it to Channing Tatum.
My daddy taught me how to make my own lemon and those butter and nuts into my mama, and I fucked out with a dog.
Ooh, I'm gonna make a name for myself over here.
It's gotta become Austin Butler.
Oh no!
Hey, mama. I think we have to leave it there. We won't even do
yes.
what we're watching because this is not really so much of a sneak peek. It's just like us explaining the slate, but we'll talk about what we're watching.
Well, it is nice to have the slate actually said, especially in timeline order, and by timeline when it's coming out, release date order, I should say.
So thank you so much for watching, Jessica. It's been wonderful doing this in person with you.
Yeah, now I can like grab you when I'm serious.
So I'm here in New Rockstars HQ. You're gonna start seeing me a lot more on the break room. We got a whole bunch of other new projects that we got cooking up here at New Rockstars that it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a really fun second half of 2024 and 2025.
Yeah, now that Eric's here, they let me adopt 5 kittens for the office. I wish. John hates cats because John's a bad man. Keep that in the edit. Keep that in the edit.
John just loves dogs more, which is fine, but cats are where it's at. Hey, everyone, follow Jessica at Lulu_Clemons. Follow me at EA Voss. Subscribe to all 3 channels of the New Rockstars Network because, again, Break Room's got some amazing stuff coming up now. And it's always been good, but I'm just like, I get to be selfishly a part of it.
He's gonna
and I'm
force
just
his way into our assembleds, and then he's gonna win because he's gonna choose actual teams.
Vote me off if I go out of bounds.
No, you're gonna choose actual teams. Well, we all choose actual teams.
I'm like, I'm here to win, not make friends.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna do. That's 100% what you're gonna do. You're gonna steal from everybody's board.
All right, we didn't talk about animation in this episode, but I just think Marvel animation's kind of on its own track. This is just live action stuff. But comment down below with what title you think is missing from this lineup and what Marvel Studios desperately needs more than some of these other ones we mentioned. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.